Welcome to the call, everybody. Let me put on my headset here. So you got a good mic. You can hear me. Um, for some reason, I don't have much of a picture here. That's probably why, because I don't have the camera on. Let me change this over. Awesome. Welcome to the call. It's nighttime here in Bali. I see there's 5 viewers. That should be 10 a.m. On the East Coast, and maybe a little bit earlier on the West Coast, of course, about 3 hours earlier. But what I wanted to do is I haven't put out a video in the last couple of weeks, and I wanted to jump on here and tell you where everything's at, what's going on, um, talk about what's changing, how it's evolving in positive ways, and maybe share some stories from Bali. Well, not much happening. I've been out here for about a week, and it's been a lot of fun. But it's beautiful out here. The massages, they're ridiculously cheap. Go pay like $10 and get a massage every day if you want, and they're actually really good. Um, and walk down the street. The beach is right down the street here. It's absolutely beautiful. Making some good friends. But what I'm going to do is ramble for a bit while everybody comes on, and then we're going to talk about the Brian Bayesian, direction the Brian Bayesian coaching is going. That's just what we've been calling it lately, branding it against my name, and the direction this content's going. This channel, my new channel, the new Instagram, all that kind of stuff. So, what I want to ask from you guys is, do you guys even know there's another YouTube channel? It's been operational now for a few weeks. It's at Brian Bayesian. It's on YouTube at Brian Bayesian. It's more professionally shot than this one. This one here I have fun with, and I just kind of shoot whatever I want to shoot when I want to shoot it. And the other one is shot in more of a studio setting. It's mostly interviews, podcasts, but then I'm going to be doing a solo podcast to supplement those. So we got our third podcast coming out on Wednesday, and I think it's pretty damn good content, if I have to say so myself. I think that channel is going to grow really fast, and I've got some big names coming down the road, bigger and bigger names that are going to be on there. We're going to be discussing elements of success. I mean, real elements of what it is to wake up ready to seize the day and create your dream life from different people that have done it. People that are living their dream life, that have broken free to some degree from the matrix and are out there creating their life. I've already shot an interview with Dr. Robert Glover. I've shot an interview with Peter Voogd. Those will all be coming down the pike later. And then once all that's out, we're going to be stepping up and going to even bigger and bigger names. So I'm super excited about that. So if you haven't subscribed to that YouTube channel, go subscribe to it right now, because we're going to be cutting up, creating a lot more clips for it. This channel, I'm going to be recording content ahead of time, and pretty soon we're going to be setting up a system to record more and more content ahead of time and get you guys more regular and better quality content on here too, and really going deep into the energetics at a deeper level. I want to On this channel. I really want to feel free to just whatever you guys want to dig into. I'm not going to worry about fancy production or anything. I just want to dig in and get a little more raw. So right now I'm in Canggu, and I was just in Uluwatu today. Somebody asked where I was at, and later I'm going to be heading out to Ubud probably on Wednesday. So I'm surprised the podcast number is so low. We usually get up 50 to 80. And right now we're at 11, so I don't know what's happening, if people aren't seeing it or something. The other thing is we got the Instagram shorts that are going out too, and that's on Brian K. Bayesian, Instagram, Brian K. Bayesian and Brian Bayesian. So check those out. There's also a Rumble. The podcast is also on Rumble. So enough of the house cleaning. The other thing I wanted to do is I just want to get on here and talk to you guys. I haven't created a video in a couple weeks, so I figured I might as well do a live chat. I'll create a bunch this week, so you guys will have a bunch of new content coming out. But what do you guys want to talk about today? What do you want to dig into? And what do you want to hear more of? Do you want to talk about future videos for the channel? I'm down to create videos on almost any topics that make sense. Do you want to talk about any? Do you have any personal questions? This is stuff I want to dive into. So I'm going to be monitoring the chat. I'm looking at it right now. And so I want to hear from you. What are you looking to, what do you want me to dive into today? It's coconut water. I can't get enough of it, man. It's absolutely delicious. And it's absolutely amazing. So no questions from the 10 viewers. I don't know why there's so few viewers on the channel today. Maybe it's because I haven't been posting videos and YouTube's mad at me. I think YouTube does that. The YouTube algorithm knows I've been a little lazy lately. So okay, we got salty lemon. Let's check it out. There's a question for you guys for the first question of the night. Just turned 35 and can't shift this idea that it's too late for me to change my life for the better. I love this question. Any advice? Yeah. Um, I don't know what's going on in your life. I'm going to call you Salty. So I don't know what's going on in your life, Salty, but I really didn't start down the path I'm on now. I think until, I mean, I did hypnosis training and did all this stuff, but my life was going nowhere until about 36. I'd done a lot of stuff. I pushed myself. Well, that's not true. I say about 34, 35. I moved into the crazy yoga cult I lived in for a while, which really expanded my reality. Up until then, I'd always worked in offices, had basic jobs. I was going to be a 9 to 5 guy the rest of my life. My life was going nowhere. It didn't look good. And then I got this job. I just got fed up with it all, and I quit everything around 35 or so. But I really made the commitment to change, to really change my life at 36. What happened was I was sitting there in my apartment, and I'd had my latest failure with women. I don't know if your issues are with women or what. I had my latest just frustration, and I had finally started making a little bit of money. I barely was making money. I'd stepped out of the box right around that age. I started working in the hypnosis center and started selling for them, making some good money. And up until then, I'd never made any money. And then I sat there and I looked at my life and I said, if I don't do something now, I'm going to end up broke, alone, and homeless in a trailer park, basically, because that's the pattern. That's the family karma, right? And I didn't want to live out that family karma. I knew I needed to change something. So I ended up committing. I got the fear of what my life looked like in the future propelled me to take all kinds of risks because I was terrified to take risks. I was afraid of losing money, the little bit of money I had. I was afraid of losing everything. But suddenly the fear of my future just was looming in my face. And the thing I was most terrified of was being alone and lonely. It scared the shit out of me. And I did not want to be alone and lonely. And so I ended up taking a dating workshop. I took my first date. Well, before that, I ended up buying all kinds of dating programs, going out learning to date, and pushing myself really hard through shit tons of anxiety. I mean, I was terrified to even ask people the time on the street. I was so shy. I always felt like they would know I didn't need to know the time, and I was lying to them. But I pushed myself, and I met this one girl, fell madly in love instantly. It was purely a disaster waiting to happen. And that fell apart within a month, destroyed me. It took a few months off, just in depression, and then took my first dating workshop. And I was willing to lose everything to have everything. I would burn the bridges. I was going to spend any amount of money. I was going to do whatever I had to do to get around people that were succeeding. And that's exactly what I did. I took a pickup workshop from Pickup 101. Then I took one 2 weeks later. I flew to San Francisco, and this was way outside my comfort zone. I'm like, oh, I got to spend money to fly. I got to spend money to stay in a hotel. I got to spend money on a workshop. I think they were about 3,000 some dollars at the time. That was a long time ago. And it changed my life. Wasn't the best workshops, they were basic banter lines and rapport, but it changed my life because I stepped in all this tension. I took a risk. I went after something that meant something to me, and the dominoes started to fall. See, the key here is you've got to. If there's a direction you're meant to go, everybody's meant to go in a direction. Everybody has something inside of them that wants to be birthed, but it's on the other side of tension. It's on the other side of fear. It's outside your comfort zone. You have to step into tension, and then you have to relax in it. You can't just push through it mindlessly. You have to relax into that tension and let it change you, like a tension on a diamond. It has to mold you, and then you have to relax into that. And you keep doing it. If you keep doing that, your life will change. Salty, if you don't know how to do this on your own, and my videos and stuff like that haven't helped, get yourself a mentor. Sometimes we need a coach. I would not be where I'm at without all the coaches I had. I went out and chased down mentors, found coaches. I'm not saying come work with me, but work with somebody. Find somebody that's done it, that's living it, that you can relate to, that you can understand, that you like the way they think, the way they talk, the way they carry themselves. They have a track record of success, of changing lives, and they have students that are doing it, not just themselves. And then get in there and do it. Some people can do it on their own. If you guys know they're releasing, if you're in the middle of the emotional scale and you go do the work and you read some books and you watch my videos, I've seen people just take right off. But if you're at the bottom of the emotional scale, where I was completely at the bottom in apathy, grief, and fear, then it's gonna take something else. It's gonna take a part of you that is probably going to need some support. I've had many coaches, Carl Wolf, who's passed away, God rest his soul, David Nagel, amazing coach. I had the guys at Pick Up 101 who I bonded with and hung out with all the time. I had Steve Pickus back in the day, if you guys know who he is. And there's just so many more. Chad Amsel. It's just all these different people that came in and had a major, major impact on my life. And then the mentors that I'd never met, like Lester Levinson, who I studied every video and audio I could ever find on that guy because I loved his work so much. Um, and then I did the work. I didn't just sit there and wait for something to happen. I did the work, and I stepped into a lot of tension and let it mold me. So, nah, 35 is nothing, dude. You can literally turn your life around in a short period of time from 35, and you could have a wild and crazy end of your 30s into your 40s and do all kinds of amazing stuff, but you're going to have to get uncomfortable. So hopefully you enjoyed that one. Let's see what else we got. Okay. Oh, good. What messages are coming in? Hey, Hayes, how you doing, man? Adam just got here. Questions about anything? Yeah, questions about anything. I just hopped on because I hadn't done a video in a couple weeks because I've been traveling. I've been on the road, doing all kinds of stuff, building up all the new content. If you guys haven't checked out the YouTube channel at Brian Bajan, check it out. That's going to be my podcast channel where I interview people and do solo podcasts. There's a little bit of content on there now, a couple of interviews. There's a third one going up Wednesday, and there's going to be a ton more later. So check that out. Also check out my Instagram, Brian K. Bajan and Brian Bajan. Or you can check out the Rumble if you want to go look for it. Yeah, the new channel is going to have a lot more. We got some great ideas to put out tons of content. So, but more professionally shot than this one. This one will be more for play and casual conversations like this. He even said sorry to some of the girls. Can you break down why he acted like this and what advice? Who are we talking about here? Who are we talking? Wait a minute. Who said sorry to some of the girls? Okay. I'm so excited for the new show. Okay, I don't know what this is about. I'm going to post it up here anyways. Just reread it. He even said sorry to some of the girls. Can you break down why he acted like this and what advice you would give me moving forward? I don't know what the question is here. Can you rephrase it? It sounds like you're referencing another comment that I'm not seeing. Okay. Let's go to this one. Maybe this will add some light to this one, this question. I just do approaches respectfully. Makes me mad. I can't even try to pick up anyone without getting called names like this. Can you break down the psychology of why he would say this? Why? Who would say what? What's going on here? There's a lot of detail missing here, and I'm quite confused. So, did I miss another comment that you wrote? I don't see it. So, okay, cool. I'm gonna move on, and I'll see where you go with it. Here's an interesting question. Could I have an office job that I don't like and still being capped during the workday, or is the only way we have? No, You don't need your external reality to change to be in cap. You can go into cap and your matter of fact, that's the best time. See, your external reality is most likely going to, when you've never been in cap and you're learning to live at the top of the emotional scale, which is courage, acceptance, love, and peace. For everybody that doesn't know that, learning to live in the higher states, neutrality, willingness, all these really good states where life is amazing. You don't get the life you want and then you get into cap. You get into cap and then your life starts changing and evolves into your purpose, your life, and the life you want, life you chose actually. And if you try to change your life before you're in cap, it probably won't go well. It won't be easy. You'll have to work hard, push, force, fight your way if it works. But when you get up to courage, acceptance, love, and peace, and you begin to be happy regardless of your purpose, then what will happen is you can actually start to have fun at your job. You'll know it's not your purpose, and you'll be ready to leave, and you'll end up finding something else. But it won't pull you down anymore. You won't be using it as an excuse for your emotional state. And then you can start to see your reticular activating system, your RAS, your law of attraction, whatever you want to say, your field is going to go out and find opportunities that match this new emotional state, and your life is going to improve drastically. I've seen it time and time again. I've seen clients go from almost homeless, Brad, to living on the beach and right across the street from the beach in Jupiter, Florida, within months after fixing right by in a big, beautiful apartment, is living his dream life in months after doing the work and getting out of the lower emotions and up into the upper emotions. It was really cool to watch people do that stuff. But he changed and got happy first. And I had to walk him through that process step by step. I mentored him on it because I was worried he was going to hurt himself, but he did it. And I've seen it time and time again, not just with him, but with so many other clients. So, and people in every walk of life, not just with me, but in life in general, that have figured this out. See, we're always trying to change it. You can't use releasing to so much change the outside world. You use releasing to change the internal world. Then the outside world changes, right? Revealing process. I like revealing better. Okay, awesome. Um, I still don't get what you're asking. So I'm just going to go past this. Chao Ziyang, I don't know who he is, and I don't know what he's saying. Uh, okay, pick up anyone without getting called names like this. Yeah, I'm still not getting your question because I don't understand the context of it. I don't understand what happened, when, who did what, all that stuff. But people call each other's names, and it doesn't phase me. Somebody can call me asshole, and I'm like, okay, it's not my. I don't know this guy. Why am I letting him bother me? It'd be like if a 5-year-old on the playground ran up to you and said you're an asshole. You'd be like, okay, who cares? It's a 5-year-old. So an adult says it, it means something. It's like, who cares? Who cares if somebody doesn't like you? Because what it's doing, the reason you care is because it's triggering an insecurity inside of you. Once you heal those insecurities, people will go, you're an asshole. And you'll be like, yeah, probably the biggest asshole in the room. Nice to meet you. And it just won't matter anymore. Right. And then people will laugh and you move on. Um, I used to get really triggered when I had a lot more internal wounds. But as the wounds heal, I get triggered way less. It takes a lot more to trigger me now. People say I have an immense amount of patience, and I do. I had to develop a lot of that, though. I worked hard to develop that ability to stay calm under pressure. Hey, people get me every once in a while, though, and then I'm like, aha, a new wound to heal, and then I go to work on that one. So hopefully that helps you. Pranoy, how you doing, buddy? Good to have you. Hey, Brian, I'm starting a career as a hypnotist. Nice. That's how I got started. I'm pretty consistent, making at least 1 to 2 videos per day and don't get many views. How do I stay motivated and trust in the universe? Well, I'll tell you what I did. I made the videos, and in the beginning, 3-minute videos is what we shot for. No script. I would just come up with somebody throw out a topic and I would shoot it. I'd hand it to somebody else. He would edit it. He'd put it up online for me, and I didn't even look at it. I just do another one every week. For months, I didn't look at them. I just turned them out. I didn't know what was happening. Eventually, we started to look. I'd let them look at them or respond to the comments in the early days, and then eventually I started to look. But for me, um, I wasn't worried. So I didn't even understand. I think I didn't even really understand view counts or the size of the channel. And it took me years to even consider thinking about that stuff. I mean, I literally built this channel not knowing shit about YouTube for the bulk of the time I had it. It was only a few years ago I started to learn how YouTube works. That's why I got the new channel. Um, I didn't care. And what I would do was use YouTube to talk to people online. I'd do like a live webinar, or I would use it to do a live event and get people to come out so I could meet them. Um, but it was when I was having the whole purpose of the YouTube channel was to have interactions with people. And so I didn't care if there was 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people. If I was having an interaction like I am now and talking to you, having a real conversation and getting clients out of that overall or helping people, I was happy. And the numbers didn't even bother me. It wasn't until years later that I started to think about the numbers, and then I thought about it. I thought, God, if I knew more about YouTube, I probably have 1 million subscribers right now, because I literally put no work into grouping the videos properly. I put no work into. I didn't even know that thumbnails and titles were a thing. Like I just let other people do them that didn't even know what they were doing. So I think it's hilarious that this channel even did as well as it did. But a lot of that was probably my unattachment to outcome. What you need to do is just, how do you convert it? Like if you've got a few views, turn them into a webinar, a live Zoom call, and get some people on there and connect with them. And when you get a little result for somebody, when you help somebody, you're going to feel motivated. If you came from YouTube, whether you have 100 subscribers or 1,000, unless you just want to build a big channel and you're not looking to get clients, and that's a different story. That's a whole different story. Now you have to optimize the shit out of YouTube, which is what I didn't do. My YouTube channel does not make any real money, because it was never optimized properly. And we could go back and try to optimize it now, but it'd be a lot of work. And it's also kind of stuck in a profile that YouTube's created for it. So that's why we're creating the new channel to get out of that profile. But yeah, for me, I would do releasing on it, but I got more out of working with clients than I did the numbers on YouTube. That's how it worked for me. But you're gonna have to literally give it some serious time. I would get yourself at least get a few YouTube courses if you're that worried about it, and talk to some people, because it does take time. Consistency is such a great lesson to learn, man. And but when you learn it and you get really good advice, and that's the next piece. I'd go get, if you really want to blow that channel up, get professional help right away, whether it's Daryl Eves or somebody else that has a track record of not just himself, but getting clients' channels to blow up. That's the person you want in the type of videos that you shoot. So you're probably not going to be doing entertainment videos unless you're doing stage show hypnosis. Okay, question. Yeah, transmuting sexual energy is awesome, and everybody should be doing it. Literally everybody should be doing it. Sexual energy is such a beautiful energy. Like the energy that comes from turn on in your hips, if you don't constantly ejaculate and let it go, and you learn to run it through your body, that turn on runs through your body, and it powers other chakras and other energy centers, and it can go up the back into the heart, open the heart more. It can turn into passion for life. It's creative energy. When that energy is pulsating through your body, it's going to make your energetic field get bigger. You're going to have more power in the world. You're going to be more magnetic because your field's getting bigger, because all that energy is starting to move through the body, right? You don't want to isolate it down in the hips, or you're going to want to ejaculate. You're going to need a release for it. But when you learn to pump it up your spine, and through the backs of the arms, up the spine, down the front, through the microcosmic orbit, and you get it pumping up into your field, yeah, your whole life can have some pretty radical changes. It can also help you with releasing a lot when it's really pumping and the microcosmos orbit's going. Help you with releasing a lot. Um, and and there's so many different ways to work on this. And I'm just thinking about where to go with this next. But yeah, because a lot of your emotions are repressed when you don't ejaculate a lot, but you learn to run that energy through your spine, you'll start to become more sensitive too. But again, the key is you got to learn to run it up your spine. Otherwise, you're going to want to ejaculate. Now, remember, you can separate orgasm from ejaculation with practice. So you can start to learn to run it up your spine and start to get these rushes of energy through your body rather than out your cock. And that will give you more energy for sex, more energy for life, more energy for creation. And again, people will notice because your field will be getting bigger. You're becoming more connected to the world. But what's going to happen is as that energy builds, if you start to do practices to build that energy, then what's going to happen is you're going to start to hear and feel all the stories and insecurities in your body more. You're going to be more, which is really good for releasing. But if you're not ready to deal with that shit, it's gonna, and you got anger issues, or you got, let's say, jealousy issues, or you got issues of not feeling sexy enough. A lot of that stuff's gonna turn up as that energy starts to run through your body. So be ready to have the tools ready to deal with that. That's number one. Number two, to get that energy to run through your body, there's lots of ways to do it. You want to learn how to pump energy up your spine, do the microcosmic orbit, or field energy up your spine is one of the ways I like to do this, between using breath to pump it up or feeling to pump it up, or a combination of the two. And then ultimately learn to bring it down the front and back up. So studying how the microcosmic orbit works, there's lots of good videos and trainings on all over the place on that stuff. Maybe I should do something on that. I have my own unique way of looking at it. Um, and because it's part of the part of raising your kundalini energy up towards the third eye and opening the third eye too. You also want to make sure you're grounded. I always talk a lot about grounding and getting that first chakra hooked into the ground, or the first energy center hooked into the ground, and then also the energy center from the earth. There's a lot of people don't know this, but they call it the earth. I don't know where this horrible name came from, but the earth star energy, or this, but it'd be the zero chakra in a sense. It's a chakra that would be in the earth, and you feel all this energy coming up as you get more embodied, energetically embodied. You'll feel energy rushing up your body from the earth more and more and more. If that energy is stuck or not transmuting well, it might feel like stuck anger, stuck frustration as it starts to go, and then it'll relax and crash back down. So you want to get that one and the first one really pumping, so you feel secure and rooted. So as this energy comes up, you feel safe and you don't get a little off. Now, good books out there you might take a look at. Mantak Chia's Multi-Orgasmic Man. Um, David Data's Way of the Enlightened Sex Manual. Not the way the way I was going to say the Way of the Spirit Man, but the Enlightened Sex Manual. That's the book, and that can help you to start to develop breath work and different things for these challenges. I use a lot of movement work to wake up the spine, so I'm doing subtle movement work to feel in these areas, and then breathing into them gently, and then opening. And what I find is I'm nurturing it more naturally rather than with force. A lot of people like to use these forcing pumps, and I'll do that a little bit, but I'd rather train it like taming a horse versus breaking a horse. I want it to happen a little more naturally. Um, but yeah, your whole life can get more powerful. You can become more creative. You can get more done because it's creative energy. When you got to control that sexual energy, instead of making a baby, make a business, make art, make awesome love. And maybe you don't ejaculate, you drive all the energy up your spine, you have a huge orgasm through your field, and then you go about your day with all that energy. All kinds of stuff like this can happen. And it takes time. And some people just they just don't want to orgasm. But if you actually can learn to some degree masturbate and edge control, and then drive that energy up your spine, that's another way to train it too. But most people in the beginning fail at that. So, and then you have to practice and learn. So there you go, man. That's some quick stuff on that. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Okay, let's check this one out. Adam, whenever I look at a girl I'm attracted to, I feel her before anything else, and some anger, and I don't know why. I feel the fear in my chest. Is there a practice I can do to help with this? Well, your heart is, well, you're probably ungrounding. And the anger is reaction formation, most likely. So reaction formation is when you have an insecurity. Let's say you see your heart wants to close, your energy wants to pull up. So you probably pull up here like this. Your heart wants to close. You'll feel this rising of energy in your body. That's energy that should be down here, just pulling up because it doesn't want to feel. We feel through the core of our body. We feel with the heart. We feel with the stomach. We feel with the hips. We feel a turn on. When we get nervous, we lock out, lock up sometimes all the way up here, and then we can't feel. We can't. The core shuts off. So everybody try that. Relax. You got your heart open, and then pull your throat back and tighten and pull up right here. Tighten and pull your chest in a little bit, and just tighten, pull in, pull and push. What'll happen? You got to pull that energy up, like up to the top of your head, and you'll feel that's hard to feel through here. And that's where your emotions are stored. It's the center pillar. Like my ability to relate to you is I need to feel you with my heart. I need to take you in and feel. Wow, is she sad? Is she angry? That's relating, man, not just logic, right? Is she turned on by this idea? She's really curious about something? Then there's your power in your stomach. Am I going to let her see my confidence, or am I going to repress my stomach? That's where the anger is in the stomach, right? And so the reaction formation, what happens is we get vulnerable. We start to let her in, and then we feel like, oh, she's not going to like me. I'm going to get rejected. Women are bitches, whatever the story is. And then we go into anger as a way of defending. And that's unacceptable because that's what anger is about. This is unacceptable, right? Fuck that. And then you put a wall and push away. Women are bitches, or I'm a loser and women are bitches, or it could be pride. Push away with pride. You know what? She's a bitch. I'm much better than her. She's not good enough for me. And that energy is reaction formation. That's what you're describing. Some version of that is most likely the anger defending against the vulnerability in the heart, and that's what the fear in the heart. And as you learn to feel down the front of the body and keep the heart open in spite of the anger, and stay vulnerable with it in spite of the anger, but use courage to feel it, not neediness or fear to feel it. Like you'll go into the fear with courage. So in a weird sort of way, this is hard to describe, but you're like, fuck it. I am going to feel this fully. I'm going to take this anger, turn it in on the fear, and I'm going to feel it fully. That's taking the anger, turning it into courage, not making it wrong, not making it right. I'm just going to feel it. Then you welcome it and you let it go. You use the releasing process, law of transmutation, and then you drop down the stomach to digest it. You let that energy, after it starts to relax, come down to the stomach, and you ask the stomach to digest that feeling. And you'll feel the stomach. Some people get sick to the stomach at first, but as the stomach gets stronger, they start getting really good at feeling their emotions, digesting them, and processing them. And then they learn to be vulnerable strong, which means, for those of you that think vulnerability is neediness, it's the opposite of that now. Now I can be sad and I can own it. She can be sad and I can feel it. It doesn't take me out. I can be angry and own it. Because now my anger is not exactly anger. I'm not identified with the anger. I'm in courage looking at anger saying, fuck it. I'm angry. I'm right here. I'm going to show up anyways. Or I'm scared. I'm right here. I'm showing up anyways. I can handle my emotions. Now that's sexy. But when you're like, oh, I'm scared, don't hurt me, or please be nice to me. We lost connection for a second there. Hopefully you're all still there. Yep, you are. Okay. Um, so hopefully that explains the process you're going through. And that's why I teach embodiment. It's all about what's stored in the body. The body keeps a score, a great book. The body is holding all this the trauma and the emotions, and even the field around the body, the field above the body and the field below the body, the earth chakra, as they would say, or the earth itself, is holding your ancestral karma, energy, memories. You think about all your ancestors' bones and stories are buried in that earth. Everything that's ever happened on that earth, and it's buried in the earth. And that's where sometimes we got to process. We got to process even beyond the body sometimes to really go free. And I used to be super logical, didn't believe this shit, and now it's so obvious after doing all this work that I'm like, oh my God, how could I have never believed it before? It's just that when the people I heard it from in the old days, they made it sound so hippy dippy and new agey, and now I'm like, it just is. It's not hippie. It's like it's the same as electricity running through a computer, is it, or a car battery, like for example, you got to have a grounding wire, you got to have a positive wire. There's everything. There's resonance. It's the body's the same thing. It's doing all the same stuff. Um, Big love, appreciate your work, man. That's Dan wrote that. But you got my name wrong, Dan. You called me Brain, which I don't mind. I've had that many times. I had a plaque made with the name Brain on it once when I was a kid. They carved my name as Brain. I should have kept that. It was a Rawhide Ranch, Dude Ranch as a little kid. My mom dropped me off there. Okay, I love you too, Dan. Just giving you a little hard time there. What did I miss your question? I don't see a question here, dude. Kinder, where's your question? Oh, is it up there? Yeah, I answered your question already. Okay, so hopefully you caught all that. Awesome, man. What are some grounding practices you recommend? Well, go to YouTube and search up grounding Brian Beige, and there's an old video on there where I go through a grounding practice that a lot of people really like. It's pretty good. The way I do movement is I've discovered, because I didn't learn it from the community of embodiment people at whole, I've really realized after watching lots of embodiment people is very different. But when I do grounding work, I'm working the subtle. I'm not just pumping and doing a horse stance, which is great. You can learn a lot from that. I'm going in and I'm like, I'm gonna get the right foot on the ground and I'm gonna feel the outside of the leg grounded down, which I talk about in this video. I'm gonna feel the inside of the leg, which is gonna be more sensitive. That's gonna be more the feminine. Like if you touch the inside of your leg, it's more vulnerable. The outside's more protective. And I'm going to work on the balance between the two. I'm going to grab the ground with my toes and learn to feel each toe and how sensitive the toes are. They're more on that feeling feminine side. And then I'm going to put the heel in the ground. You're going to feel the grounding nature of that heel. And then I'm going to work on the relationship of that foot over my hips. And as I get that foot in balance going between all these areas, moving around, I'm going to be feeling for the flow of energy up down my legs and up my legs, down the outside, typically the outside, the masculine, and up the feminine, up towards my groin. And I want to be pulling energy from the earth and grounding energy into the earth at the same time. So I'm going to be working each leg independently, and then I eventually put them together. And I'm going to do it standing there. I'm going to just stand up and just start these practices a little on the outside, feel, a little on the inside, and it's really a meditative exploration. I'm not going up and down and doing this and this. That all does work. And I highly recommend you do it if that's what you learn and you like it. But I like to start really subtle. When I get the subtle down and I can really feel it on these micro movements, then I go do the bold work later, understanding all this feeling I've created through micro movements. And it takes on a whole new level of work. Now, when I go to the gym and I go to, say, squat, I don't really squat anymore, but there's a whole different, like all these emotions rush through my body and feeling. Matter of fact, after learning a lot of movement work, the first time I squatted, and I squatted way deep, I was with my coach at the time. And it got so emotional when I got down there. I got down super, almost all the way to the ground, and with a deep squat, and all these and it was painful as fuck, but not physically. It was emotionally painful as fuck. All this stored stuff was down in my first chakra coming out through the grounding, and there was a time in my life I couldn't feel any of that stuff. I didn't believe in it, and now I feel it all the time. So that's a short answer, right? Go to that video, watch it. It's an old video, but it's still a good one. I need to do I'm glad you said that, because I need to do a new YouTube video for grounding. So I am going to put that on the list. Where can I put that really quick? I'll put it right here. YouTube videos. And then the first one we'll do, if we come up with more today, I'll start adding them for stuff that I can put up for the channel, but one on grounding. And maybe we can even do a meditation to go with it. I think it'd be great. By the way, the membership site that I'm creating all kinds of a brand new membership site that's going to be really badass. I'm setting it up for my advanced clients right now, but then I'm going to be opening it to other people too, and different aspects of it. And That's all in play right now with all new revealing process, all new embodiment practices, all new energetic practices. So, and then there'll be opportunities to join live calls on those videos and different things as time goes on. So I just want to give you guys a heads up. If you haven't signed up, you haven't checked out the new YouTube channel, make sure you sign up at Brian Bajan is the YouTube channel. It's more professionally shot. It's going to have it's a lot of podcasts, and it's going to have solo podcasts and lots of content. It's my third commercial, but I had to put it out there. Or the Instagram, Brian K. Bajan, or Brian Bajan. And there's a Rumble too under Brian Bajan. So, but the Rumble is growing very slowly. It's just mimicking the YouTube channel. Here, what do we got here? What's this one? Lately, I've been struggling to feel like the universe has my back. I love that. Not that you're having that problem, but I love that statement. The universe has my back. So many things seem to be going in the wrong direction in the world, professionally, and in my own family. Got any advice? Well, that's typically okay. If you understand releasing is the first question. You understand revealing process as I teach it. If you look at the emotional scale, apathy, grief, fear, lust, anger, pride, courage, acceptance, love, peace, when you're below the level of courage, and you're in, let's say you're at the bottom, apathy, grief, and fear, and all the emotions that go with that. Within apathy, you got shame and guilt, and you got all these other emotions too. Whatever you try to do tends to run away from you, tends to fall apart. So I go to try to make money, it falls apart. But if I'm predominantly 60, 70, 80% of the time in that emotional state, if I try to go approach women, it's probably going to fall apart. That was my experience my whole life. That's every client I've ever seen. That's just the way it is. Because it's the reverse side of a magnet, the side that repels. When you're in lust, anger, and pride, desire, anger, and pride, you tend to fight to get ahead. You can push, fight, force, push, fight, force. You get there, and then it's kind of one step forward, two steps back, two steps forward, one step, and it's this process of growth. It's a struggle. When you get up to courage, acceptance, love, peace, everything starts flowing towards you. You're now the other side of the magnet, and stuff starts flowing in. That took me a long time to understand and really have an experience of. But when I started to clean up all my emotions in relationship to the outside world, in other words, I stopped trying to change the outside world to be happy. I stopped trying to fix the outside world to be happy, and started learning to love the outside world just the way it is, with nothing needing to change. And the outside world started to change as I started to appreciate the amount of money I had in the bank account, whether it was $1 or $1,000 or a negative, whatever. Then more money started to come in. As I started to appreciate that money, more money started to come in. I had to literally change the whole way I saw the world. And I had to learn to appreciate more things, which was hard work because I didn't even understand what gratitude was. I tried to do a gratitude journal and hated it. So I had to start with really little stuff. What could I appreciate? And then I had to really do a lot of releasing. I had to turn it into almost a full-time job for a while. I was so negative, to get out of all the negativity, to turn that process around. And then when I did, things started flowing to me, which was really nice. I mean, it's really beautiful to have things flow to you. But I worked hard to get there, and I didn't even start that process till well into my 30s, late 30s. So I was struggling all the way up till then. So I highly recommend you consider releasing, learning to release, let go, start meditating. Releasing is the micro. You're looking at little things, little emotions, and breaking them up. And so if you have a story, I don't like myself, for example, or I don't like the job, I never have a good job, I hate my life, and that what keeps that story alive is the emotions that are attached to the story, the feelings. You know, if you had the story, I hate myself, but there was no hate in the story, your mind would go, whatever, it doesn't matter, and let the words go. It wouldn't mean anything. You have to actually feel it. So releasing, letting go, revealing is all about letting all that stuff go. So I highly recommend you start to really take on a micro practice like that. But you want to combine it with a macro practice, which would be meditation. So learning to surrender and open up completely and be. And then when you've got good stillness, you can go in and do a lot of releasing, and then you can go back and be still and be doing more releasing, and really starting to understand how to use the mind to let go of the mind. Because ultimately, the smaller the ego gets, the easier life gets, the more you start to live in flow states. And you can literally live in these micro flow states and then ultimately flow itself, getting beyond the idea it's even a state where life just carries you along. So, good question. Um, who we got here? Okay, Mikhail. Hey, Brian, nice to see you. How do you know what path to choose when there's a conflict between your mind, body, and soul? Also, how did you rise up the scale so that you stay up? Oh, okay. Path, whatever path really calls you. I mean, if it's, I'm assuming, I'm guessing you mean like a spiritual path for yoga versus Buddhism, or versus non-duality, more conscious modern day practices. I mean, I really chose the path I started with when I really started to dive in deep was with my teacher Carl. And that was all a lot of energetic embodiment kind of, and then we'd really work on understanding the mind. It's more of a mystery school, and I really loved that path. I wasn't really into the yoga, the Buddhism. I understood it to some degree from other thing I did because it all overlaps, but I really loved that. And then I went into the releasing, the revealing stuff. Been studied Lester Levinson like crazy. I'm a big fan of picking somebody I like, somebody I can relate to, somebody I can get behind, and then going deep, not 15 million different teachers. Now I study a lot more stuff because I've been doing it for so many years that it all seems like one thing to me now. But back in the day, it would have confused me to have different teachers. I've been studying a lot more yoga. I've been studying Yoga Nanda lately. Um, and I still love to study the Gospels. I think the Gospels itself can completely change your life from the Bible. Um, but yeah, I chose based on where I was pulled and what was getting me results. And How did I get up there and stay up there? Necessity. I crashed hard. I've had a dark night of the soul that was killing me, and somebody introduced me to somebody that knew how to release really well. And I sat down in front of him and started to release with him, and I saw the results. And then, like my mind does, I said, well, this is kind of working, so I'm going to do it full bore. And instead of going finding 50 million other things to try to distract me, I'm just going to dive deep. And I pretty much quit working and sat at home and released for hours a day, and willing to give up a whole year of my life to do that. I did work a little bit, but mostly I spent that year releasing, and I went from that really bad state back out, and then my life blew up again. And that's happened to me several times, about 3 times, that I had these horrid crashes and then returns. But each time it's like crash, and the first one was the longest, and then back up, and the next one was shorter but back up, and the last one was like 2 months, and then boom. Every time my life just gets better and better. It's because each crash is eating up something inside of my body, like a deep buried anxiety. And you got to also remember, I did come from massive amounts of trauma. My childhood was filled with trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma. So it's not like I had even a remotely normal life. So I had a lot to let go of. So I took it from that place that I had a lot to let go of versus some other people that maybe don't have as much. Now there are people that have it worse than me, so I feel for them, but what the big question is, what are you willing to give up to have what you want? You always have to give something up to have the thing you want. If you're not willing to give up that thing that you need to give up to have what you want, or the things, then you don't get what you want. Like, let's just say, even emotionally, I have to be willing to give up my victim consciousness to become a winner in the world, to become somebody who has a life of ease. But if you're really attached to playing the victim, you get a lot of attention from it. You're not willing to give it up. You can't do that. I might have to give up a year of my life. Is what I did. I was willing to give up a whole year of my life of working and making money to trying to clean up my body, to clean up because I was really sick. Really, I couldn't work. It was kind of forced on me. What are you willing to give up? Are you willing to give up money? Giving up a lot of money to get where I'm at. And I've also made a lot of money because I did that. So time, money, relationship, because there are relationships in your life that need to end because they're pulling you down and they're toxic, but you just don't want to give them up. Another good one. You're in control of your life, but everything you want is on the other side of fear and all your attachments. So what happens is all these attachments, as you let go of them, your life improves. All these toxic attachments, right? And as you get more, as you let go of more attachments and aversions, and you start to really go free, you're more free to love somebody. Like the less attached you are. I'm not saying we don't get somewhat attached when we fall in love with people, for sure. But if it's a toxic attachment, like I'm gonna die if I lose this person, which is not true. If you really learn to ground it, you might hurt, you might be sad. Reach the point where you're like, well, if you need to go, go. You know, because this whole idea that these toxic attachments are just, they just smother the other person in you. But when you're no longer attached, and then you open your heart and love that person fully because you know you can handle it if it doesn't work out. So I'm willing to love you fully now. I can fully invest, and then you can truly be there for them. I'm not talking about detachment, period. I'm talking about detachment to outcome. Big difference between the two: the outcome, the future, the you know, or something that could happen potentially that you don't even know is ever going to happen. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Let's see here. JT, what's up, buddy? Um, Seems like manifesting your dream life comes from the intensity of thoughts imprinting on the physical reality matrix. Yeah, well, thoughts, and even more so, intention creates reality. So intention, imprinting it involves tension, right? How can I become more of an more intention in that word too, person like normal people are unconsciously? Well, you don't have to be an intense person. I get where you're going with it. Imprinting, it can be just an emotional, as you fall in love with an idea, you imprint. You could just sit and love an idea so much. It's filled with vibration and energy and comes alive. And the more you love it, the more it takes on, you nurture it along, it takes on a life of its own, like a baby. So, so, and thoughts alone don't create reality. Thoughts do direct emotion and intention, but you got to remember the thought itself can have no emotion attached to it. The thought could be like, I'm in Maui. I have no emotion attached to that idea. I don't even really care about Maui. I've been there before, once before. I don't really care. Um, so that's not going to imprint shit, right? I could have the thought, I'm in Maui, and say it over and over again. When in reality, deep down inside, I don't want to be in Maui, but I keep telling myself that. I have $1 million, but I don't really care, right? And so I'm trying to force the idea. What am I going to do then? I'm going to create resistance and pain on the idea of being in Maui. And then I'm actually going to push the opportunities to go to Maui away because of the pain I'm creating. So the emotion, the intensity is coming from the presuppositions, the 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 feelings that are driving, what type of feelings are driving the inferences that are driving the words. And then there's the intention behind that. And if you can start to grasp the idea of what an intention is, like I can say, walk up to a woman and say hi, I just want to meet you, and and my intention can be that I, like, say my buddy's there and there's a really cute girl and he wants me to approach her, and now my intention is to impress my buddy, but I really want lunch. So I got these two intentions, and none of them are about the girl, and she's going to feel it, right? And so my intention has to be congruent too. There has to be this, and the intention is what you hold, not the thought. I can sit and hold the thought, women like me, women like me, women like me, but that's just me repeating a bunch of garbage in my head that's going to stress me out eventually. Now, if I can hold the intention, if I can find the thought, get it congruent, women like me, and I feel my heart open, I feel my turn on in my body, I feel it wake up, and I feel it charge this whole battery, this energetic center. And then I could just let go of the thought and hold that intention and feel that charge in my hips, the grounding in my legs, the open heartedness. Women like me, women just see women coming to me, and I'm letting them in. They're not just coming to me. I'm letting them in, feeling them and appreciating them. I'm appreciating and enjoying them, and I'm letting them see me enjoy them so they get fun out of it too. And I'm just feeling this cycle. That's the intention. It's all congruent now. But if I'm trying to do that process and I'm thinking about in the background of my mind, and my intention is to get over my fear of women not liking me, and that's all I'm thinking about, my intention will be a little off again. It's a compensation. No, I got to get where I'm congruent with the idea that women, even if it's only for a minute or two, 10 minutes, and then let it go. And it might take months for it to fully take hold. But every time I get super congruent with my intention, and you start with thoughts to find that intention, then you get into that intention, you sit in it, you play with it, you dance in it, you have fun with it. And the longer I can hold that intention, that vibration, the faster it's going to have an effect on my subconscious reality. As it has the effect on my subconscious reality, in your case, how do I imprint on the world? I can master manifester, and I can feel that idea, and I feel the turn on. And I really sit with it every day. Maybe in a month, 2 months, 3 months, that starts to get deep into my subconscious, and then it becomes a feeling. It moves from a feeling I'm having a moment with to a feeling I'm being, and that's when I don't have to think about it anymore. So somebody will go, "Hey, you master manifester?" Yes, I am. And you'll feel it right away, and then you'll start to see that stuff come to you because you no longer have to think about it. It's unconscious confidence, like riding a bicycle. Hop right on and go again. And that's what you're working towards. You're working towards that level of congruency. Now, manifestation to me is, let's call it a sport, for lack of a better term. It's not, doesn't necessarily make you happy. There's people that are great manifestors that are unhappy, and people that are great manifestors that are very happy. It's just easier when you're happy. But manifesting itself does not make you happy. It'll amplify more of who you're being. So if you make more money and you're an asshole, you'll probably become a bigger asshole. If you're a really joyous guy and you make a lot of money, you'll probably be a more joyous guy. And so whatever you are inside gets manifested through your amplification of energy around you. Now, remember that learning to manifest is an art form, is what I was saying. It's a sport. Like, I'm calling it a sport just for teaching purposes. If you go out and you learn to ski, it might take, or even snowboard or surf, it's going to take a few days to get even basically good at it, right? And then weeks to get better to where you kind of, and then years really to become an expert of learning all the subtleties, be able to handle black diamonds and double black diamonds and triple black diamonds, and be able to shoot through chutes and rocks to become really fucking good. And manifesting is the same way. You're learning to calibrate energies inside yourself and outside yourself. So there's this dance between the inner and the outer world that you're learning to master, and that journey is worth it. So especially if you use it to eliminate the ego and become happier and learn to give that joy to the world, so you create a better world through your joy. But if you're just trying to get good at manifesting, you get a bunch of stuff, and you don't want to eliminate your ego, and you're still angry inside, you're going to end up paying the price for that. I've seen that before. I've had many clients come to me that are master manifestors, made a lot of money, and they're miserable. Oh my God, they just want me to teach them to be happy. And that's really what the new business is about, learning to be happy. And then it's so much easier to manifest anyways when you're happy. And I mean authentically happy, joy, peace, love, giving it away to the world. But if you have to, if you're manifesting as a compensation, and you could do this through force, if you get really good at penetrating your fear, your stories, and holding the state of being, and with force, you can manifest $1 billion. There's people that do it, and but you'll have to pay the price later, and it's not worth your happiness, man. Happiness is giving that joy away, and having connections and feeling one with other people. It's really what life's all about. I'd rather have less money and more of that, right? Yeah, I don't want to be struggling. I want to be comfortable, but I don't need billions of dollars. So I'm kind of going off on tangents here, but I think it illustrates the point really well. Going an hour already, man. See, yeah, living it up in Bali. Bali is an interesting place. I wanted to come here before COVID. Um, And I have a girlfriend now, by the way. Well, kind of. I'm figuring out it's this really cool relationship. She's a sweetheart. We're figuring out where this is going to go, but she's an awesome woman. Um, and what was I going to say? I lost myself. I started thinking about her and see, my mind went off. um, but Bali's an interesting place. I wanted to come here before the pandemic, and unfortunately, the pandemic started right before my trip, and I didn't get out here. I was going to take this photography class here from doing some super sexy photography stuff, but I never did. But it's such a hectic place, man. There's scooters are everywhere, even more than when I was in Mexico, and they're all over the sidewalks and the roads, and there's people just. I mean, I don't know how they manage here. I mean, I know how they manage it, but it's just I prefer a little bit more peaceful energy. So I'm going to head out to Ubud. I'm in Canggu, which is the busiest area, but I went up to Uluwatu today, and which is another surf town, which they say is pretty quiet during the week, but today it was nuts. But they said Sunday it always goes nuts. So, but I really like the Balinese, sweet, loving people. There's tons of people from all over the world here. Sexy girls running around their bikinis everywhere. You can find any food you want. Like I could walk down the street. There's gyms and there's saunas and there's cold plunges and food and all cotton clothes everywhere. I don't have to buy polyester shit anymore. I get cotton underwear and not have the polyester against my balls anymore. It's not good for you if you guys didn't know that. It decreases testosterone. Um, yeah, I'm this as far as being a health conscious entrepreneur, this place does rock. But I'm going to Ubud, the spiritual center mecca of this area, apparently, probably in a couple of days. So another tangent. How to transmute sexual energy. That's where that's a whole practice. That could be I'm going to put that down as a YouTube video, Kinder. Because it's not something I can say in a quick answer. And there, like I said, there are books that talk all about that, and whole YouTube videos that talk all about it. I have my perspective, which is a little different, but I would have to take you through a meditative process, learning to run energy up your spine, down the front. I mean, I talked about all this earlier. And then open and how to open all the centers and ground into the earth, pull the energy back up, run it back in, pulling the energy from above. You know, you got what they would call the soul star chakra, or your Akashic records are up there too, supposedly. And then you got the earth chakra, and then all the energy that flows through the body, through the microcosmic orbit, energy coming up your legs, down through the body, and then learning to drive that, and then pump that energy from the ground up into the turn on, drive it up your spine, connect it to your heart, connect it to your third eye, open up, and then let it run through your body. And so you know, that's a quick kind of super loose overview, but I'd have to go through a lot of these pieces, and we'd have to talk about a lot of different aspects of it. So I think that would be more of a YouTube video, and even more so, that could be a small course, you know, of practices and trainings and building up, because there's just piece after piece. It's even hard to master in one little YouTube video. So hopefully you understand. But Mantak Chi is way of the Mantak Chi is multi-orgasmic man, David Data, enlightened sex man. Both talk about that too. Hey. Go. Does not want to change. There we go. Hayes, okay. You're welcome, buddy. I have no plans to remove videos from this channel. I would rather. That's why this channel's still here, and I'm still putting stuff up, because I love helping you guys. And this channel had a real loose, wild format. There was no professional content shot. It was just me shooting with a camera, like I am right now with terrible lighting, cheap microphone, and I played with different things. The other channel is something else altogether. That's not going to be dating related. That's energetics related. This channel's kind of dating, energetics, men's work. It's a mix, and it's a hosh posh, and I have no plans to get rid of it. So and people, it's helped a lot of people, and it's great. And I love putting the content out. It's great for my business. But even if it's not, when I get messages from people around the world about their lives changing, how could I remove it? And I get personal messages all the time, even from women that have done the work and used it on themselves and have said that it's changed, their husbands have changed so much that they were about to get a divorce, and now they're all happily married again, and he became this amazing man. And they're always terrified that they're going to go out and pick up all these women, and married couples that are, I mean, I just can't tell you how it's awesome. I can't, it surprised me how much this has worked in people's relationships. I have a model that I trained to be a model for my workshops in Romania, and she worked for me for many years, and she took the stuff, met this guy. She took the basic material and she made him do all the work with her, and now they're happily married. He's the coolest dude. And he said, yeah, she kind of had to drag me in kicking and screaming, but he goes, I'm glad she did, because he goes, I was miserable before, and now I'm way happier. And they just got married. They're an awesome couple, and they're both really good friends of mine now. So cool stuff. So stuff like that, it's just fun to watch people change. Um, okay, let's continue on. Coaching with you. I don't know, Salty. You have to decide that, because you could talk to a member of my team. All I've got right now are the 6-month programs, and those are limited release. We only bring in a few people at a time. We just brought in 3 more, and we'll close the doors again for another month or 2. We have another layer of the program is about to launch another month or so. That's going to be another tier, a lower tier, probably also around 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, and then we'll have a tier below that and a tier above. And that's all as I'm bringing on more ability to help more people. That's all going to be launched, and there's going to be the live events. But we'd really have to talk to you, Salty, to figure out if you're a good fit. Because, and I mean that. I don't mean that as like, oh, hey, here's a sales tactic. No, there are some people that are not good fits, and they could be a good fit in a year if they go get therapy first, then come back, things like that. Um, but but they have to be coachable. They have to be fun to work with. They have to be ready to change. They have to be ready for the work. As my old mentor used to say, Brian, don't bring me dysfunctional people. Not that you're dysfunctional, buddy, but don't bring me at the time I was really dysfunctional, so I was bringing him dysfunctional people, and he's like, stop bringing me all these dysfunctional people. He said, bring me functional people that want to be high functioning. So I was like, okay, I don't know what that means, because I was so dysfunctional. um, but I've helped a lot of people, even people that were pretty heavy, pretty sad, with the coaching programs. But they take a lot of time and a lot of work when they're really depressed. And and so we'd have to meet with you, find out where you're at, what your goals are, what you want to do, where you want to go with your life, how open your body is to change. Like, is your mind fight change? Does it open to change? There's all kinds of stuff. How embodied you already are, little things like that. So, but you're more than welcome to hop on the website and set up a call with Landon, and we can go from there. And then I'll probably be doing some free webinars again soon too. Hop on there. And then what else? Yeah, and watch out for the new stuff that's coming out, because that'll be able to handle a lot more people. That's the whole idea. I have the higher end stuff, which then allows me to take the funds from that and put it in to create the infrastructure for the lower end stuff that allows me to serve more people, because that takes a lot more money for infrastructure. And then we just keep coming down, so I can help as many people as possible over time, which is what I want to do. I don't want to be stressing over. I like helping people that want to be helped. Let's just put it that way. So if you're ready to be helped, I want to have a tool for you to get in there and do the work. This is interesting. How to let go of a girlfriend's sexual past. I was 10 times more active than her, but even the smallest details about her past kills me. This is an interesting one. I mean, it's really just revealing and releasing about your own insecurities, about yourself as a man, who you are, possessiveness. Like, that's all insecurity stuff, right? I had it. That's how, I went through all that. I was super jealous, super territorial. I let it all go. I literally would practice letting go. I would bring up the worst images in my mind of my girlfriend with other people. Well, I'm going to tell you the story of how I did it. Um, I went into open relationships. I didn't want a girlfriend at the time. I hated having committed relationships. So the only thing I could really do was open relationships. So I had girlfriends, and I would have these girlfriends, and I'd say, yeah, but we're in an open relationship. Yes, we're committed in the sense that we only go on vacations together. We only stay overnight with each other, but we can go out and meet other people, and that's kind of how we were doing it. I wouldn't do that today, but that was a long time ago. And one of the girls I was with, I'd been with her for several years, and she started to go out and party more and more. And I would, at that time, I would welcome I would welcome the pain of her going out to hang out with other people, knowing the stuff was probably gonna happen because we were in an open relationship. And I would sit in it, and I'd welcome it, and I would imagine the worst, release on it, release on it, and it was really painful. God, it was painful. But you know what happened? Over time, it got less painful, less painful, less painful, until it stopped bothering me altogether. Um, and I learned a lot in that phase. I thought when my girl went out with somebody else at that time that I would lose her. She might fall in love with somebody else, but I realized that was highly unlikely. We had so much energy and time and invested together. It would take a lot for somebody to tore that apart, unless we were completely separated, and not invested in each other anymore. And I never let that happen. I always kept a good amount of connection between me and my girl. Now, would I do that today? No, no, I don't. If I'm really in love with a girl, I don't want to. I'm done with that. That was an old phase. It was something I was learning from. Now, I got the idea from Lester Levinson, because Lester Levinson had a girl he was madly in love with that left him for another guy, and he was madly jealous, and he hadn't seen her in years. When he was working on his enlightenment through the healing, when he was figured out releasing, he said he came to the memories of this girl leaving him, and those were the toughest releases he ever had to do. He said releasing on the jealousy he had, picturing her with him, and he said I wanted to release till I could get to the point where I was happy for them two as a couple, even though I hated him and her together. I hated him in general. Because if she's going to be happier with him than me, I wanted to reach a point where I wanted her to be with him because he's a better man, better match for her. Not a better man, but a better match. And he says, then I took it a step further, and I pictured them two having sex together. I wanted to reach a point where I could be happy for them two having great sex together, because because if she's not right for me, I want her to be happy with someone. And he says that was literally the hardest release I ever did. And he said, but when I got there, he says it was very liberating. And I was like, I want that liberation, because I was so tired of being jealous. I would get tired. I would get jealous over the littlest thing. I was like, I want that. And when I got that liberation, it was shocking to watch the reaction difference in my girlfriend when I was unaffected by stuff. And then my next girlfriend, who had an open relationship, not at first, but she would try it. She was a Latina. She would try so hard to get me jealous, but she couldn't understand it. Every boyfriend I've ever had is jealous, and then I realized she really wants me to be jealous. Some women think that means you care, and just wasn't there anymore. So I really dug into the memories, the images, the feelings, the sensations of my body, and I just started tearing them apart one at a time with the revealing and releasing process. Letting Go by Hawkins is a book. Sedona Method is a book, if you guys are wondering. My course, The Revealing Process, which is not for sale anymore, is with the old company, but if you're interested in that, email Landon at truecourage.io, and he can get back with you, because it's not on any webpage or anything for sale. But if you want to see the old fearless man, if you're interested in that course, Landon can help get it to you. I can't remember what the pricing was. They've got it, so You can talk to them. I think it's a great course, though. I think it's 4 days worth of material, 4 solid days worth of material, endless material. So awesome. I've been going for an hour and 20, guys. There's probably a lot more questions, isn't there? There's always way. I want to answer every question, but it's humanly impossible. So I'm gonna have to let you guys go. I'm just kind of glancing through. I'm not caring what others say. That's the releasing process, man. That's the whole point of it, is to go in there and you got to welcome up all your insecurities. It's all of releasing is not about affecting the outside world. And you got to remember this when you're doing it, revealing. It's about reflecting your internal world. And you start with the littlest things, easy things, and you clean those up, and you go to the next layer, and the next layer, and the next layer. Then you go walk around in the world and let it affect you, and then you go clean it up with the process again. And you go let it affect you. And then the process will work really good for a while, then it'll stall, it'll work good for a while, and it'll stall, just like every process does, because you'll get into wanting, you'll get into chasing. So that's what the whole course is about, is getting to that level. Is this a mental hospital? People are here learning, man. Well, it's okay, cool. Okay, guys, just had to see that. Like I said, there's a lot more stuff coming. Check out the YouTube channel at Brian Bajan, the new YouTube channel. Brian Began has all the podcast, new podcast coming out Wednesday, and then we're gonna have new shorter clips coming out a lot. We're gonna have lots of shorts on there on a regular basis. The Instagram, Brian K. Bajan, or Brian Bajan, that has shorts coming out all the time too. And then there's a Rumble, if you guys like Rumble. Rumble's a duplication of the YouTube channel, so there you go. There's my commercial again. If you're interested in the revealing process, email Landon at truecourage.io. He can take care of that for you. 7-year subscriber, dude. Love that, man. Love you, man. Question. Simple way to release on removing financial income limiting beliefs. That's an interesting question, because there's a lot of ways to do that. It's not one right way. It's not like, you could welcome. I could take you through a release on that, but I think the best way on that one. See, I'm trying to. The channel's not really about financial stuff, but I want to create a YouTube video on it. So that's where my mindset is going, because it's a longer answer, depending on this, that, and the other. Problem with the financial stuff. Is whenever I talk about it, the views go to shit, because, and I noticed this in workshops too. If I had a financial guy at a workshop when I was teaching the dating stuff, and I would have a big seminar, like 60 guys in there, whatever, and then the financial guy would get up, half the people would leave. It like triggers so much shit in people, they don't even want to watch it. And since the channel's not set up for financial stuff, everybody runs. If it was a channel that was set up to do financial releasing, I'm sure I'd get a good audience. You have to welcome the insecurities, just like any type of releasing. And for me, I would create, like, in short, I would create a VAK goal, or video auditory kinesthetic goal, a goal that really embodies the now of what it is to be abundant, get in touch with that. And that's a whole process in itself. Then I would release on all resistance to that. And I would go deep, and I wouldn't be afraid to go down into the parts of myself that feel lack and feel shame. And then I'd come back, and I'd go in and back out, in and back out. Go into the lack, feel the lack, welcome the lack, be with the lack, choose to penetrate the lack, choose to break up the lack, and then come back out. And I do this in a meditative process, and come back out and feel the abundance, feel what it is to be wealthy. Then I'd read the goal every day and feel the abundance of that, and come back. And I'd be doing these cycles, almost like the negative, the positive, and the goal in and of itself, and just constantly clean up a little bit each day. And what you're doing is you're whittling away, because there's not going to be one release that releases it all. It's going to be a little bits of releasing over time. Now, what you might find, depending on how big your stories are, the financial stuff might move faster. than say dating and women. It's typically one or the other is going to move faster. Some people dating and women is like pulling fucking teeth, wisdom teeth, but the financial stuff is easier and vice versa. But yeah, I'll think about creating a YouTube video on that and see. Maybe we'll get more views than I used to get. I think it'd be a fun one to create and do some releases on it. Because it's been over an hour and 24 minutes. Okay, I'll keep reading your questions. You guys are awesome. I love you all. I will be back. We'll do more of these, and I'm gonna be shooting some more videos soon too. Anyways, hey Lorenzo, good to see you, man. I'd love it. I'm not creating a third channel. If I do anything on the energetic finance, I should actually probably do it on the new channel with the professional shoot, but I'll probably do one on here too. If I get something that really hits big here, I may move it over there and put it up there too. So, and I'm also thinking about doing. Oh, we got some money came in. Uh-oh, I have to stop on this one. We got $4.99. Super chat, Miguel. What's up, buddy? How do you start the process of self-love? Any recommendations besides affirmations? Any books or podcasts you can help me with? Well, affirmations do work when done properly. I mean, everything works. The problem is where you're at energetically when you do the thing. If you're trying to jam some thoughts into your head to make yourself believe them, no, they're gonna rebel, and it's actually gonna have a reverse effect. And your affirmations are gonna push money away, or push success away, or push self-love away. Self-love is all about, on an embodiment perspective, learning to first you got to get your heart open. You got to learn to feel what it is to open and close your heart, learn to keep it open. And to do that, you got to learn to ground. You got to ground it into the earth. What they would say the first and second chakra, or the first and earth center, learning to connect those two, because those ground out and allow the heart to stay open and stable. And then learning to feel your stomach. And then as you learn to embody these areas through embodiment, you can start to process all the emotions stored in your body. Then an affirmation will most likely start working too. But the affirmations need to be released on. So as I say, I love myself, I got to release on all the stories, the resistance, the guilt, the shame, the programs that come up in response to that. Can I welcome the love that I do have for myself as much as I do, even if it's only 1%, right? And can I let go of can I penetrate and let go of the hate that I do have, or the judgment, or the self-attack? Can I be with it? Can I let it run? Am I making my hate wrong? Am I making it bad? Because that'll keep it stuck, right? And then I'll come back, and can I welcome the love again? Do I have the courage to welcome it a little bit more? Can I penetrate the love and expand it and open it up even more, right? And transmute it into a bigger amount of love. That's another way. There's a million ways you could say this stuff and play with it. You got to find what works for your brain, and that's why. And then writing via Kegel, but. Another thing is sitting in the mirror and just, fuck, this sounds weird, but take off your clothes and look at yourself and just touch your body. And, I love you just the way you are. And then welcome what comes up. And I love you just the way you are. Welcome, and especially the parts you're judging, self-attacking. And then just close your eyes and see your internals, your images about yourself. And then it's always going to lead back to probably stories from childhood. So you welcome all that and let it go. And you're literally like cleaning out all these memories, man. I did a lot of that. I went through every memory from childhood non-stop, all day long for days on end for a while. And I would sit down, boom, 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 release, boom, 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 release, boom. And then I go do it again. And I've told a lot of people to do this, go back to your whole childhood. And just every traumatic memory, every bit of anger at my mom. And that had a massive effect on my life. And that took a lot of time, but it was well worth it. And memories that I forgot would come up after, you release on a few, then a few more, and a few on a few, and a few more. And then I got them all to pretty much neutral in the beginning, because I wasn't able to get to the self-love. And then I had to go through them again. And eventually I started trying to move them from neutral to love, to appreciation, to joy for each memory, even the memories I had formerly been mad at. So, and that process was literally life transforming, if you're willing to do that deep work. So that you can find, so revealing process helps with the releasing part. I'm going to be creating a new course on revealing and energetic revealing and embodiment revealing within the membership site. I've already got a lot of the stuff broken down that I want to shoot. I'm going to be shooting it soon, and then that's all going to be in the new membership site. That's going to be an advancement of the old stuff, and can't wait to turn that out. So it's going to be awesome. Okay, guys. Miguel, I hope you have a beautiful day. All of you have a beautiful day. Um, and I do have a self-love course. If you, I shot it a long time ago. You could ask Landon about that. Um, I remember it wasn't a big seller. Everybody said they wanted it online, and then not a lot of people bought it. But I think it might have just been the way it was marketed at that time, because I thought it was a pretty good course. I thought it was a really good course, but sometimes, yeah, I mean, if they didn't buy it, they couldn't tell you if it was good or bad. So it had to be just bad marketing. So, anyways, I'm gonna let you guys all go for real now. It's been an hour and a half, way too long of a video for me. Shouldn't be. Hopefully, people will watch an hour and a half later. And I love you guys. Have a beautiful night. It's time for me to go to bed.